Hey, what's up you guys? It's Oberyn Blackfire here, coming at you guys with another video. Sorry it's been so far and in between, however I finally got myself a good camera, so therefore we don't have to worry about sound or picture or whatever and that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to make the videos a little bit shorter now, so that way we don't really, so that way they're not so far and in between, and that way you guys aren't watching like 30 minutes worth of me just rambling on about theories. So I'm kind of just jumping into it. Pretty much for anyone that follows Game of Thrones, the TV show, you know that there's been a lot of articles going around about the next season and whether or not Jon Snow is coming back, which they basically confirmed. I mean, I really don't know why people thought that Jon Snow was going to be killed off in the TV show anyway, because he still has a really huge part to play. I know that we don't necessarily know what's going to happen in the books, but truly, we know that they're not going to kill him off. I mean, there's so much more about him, about his parentage, about the fact that we would lose basically the only point of view that we would have at the wall in the books and on the show, basically, if we lost him. I mean, I really doubt they're going to keep it with Ollie, and now that it seems that Stannis is pretty much dead, because they gave him a beautiful death poster, which I'll show, that I feel like that's pretty much confirmation that Stannis is dead. And that means we would only have Melisandre at the wall. But she's never really been a character upon herself. She's always been associated with one other character, whether it be Gendry, whether it be Arya, whether it be Stannis, Davos, Jon. So she's never really been I mean, even in the book, she only has one POV chapter out of all the time that she's been in the series. So I think it was pretty obvious that Jon Snow was going to come back, but as we've seen, Kit Harington has actually been spotted in Belfast. He's been spotted on the set where I guess they're going to have a fight at the wall. I'm not sure if it was Eastwatch or something, but it wasn't at Castle Black from what I believe. It was at another set where I guess a huge battle is going to be taking place. So now that we have confirmation that Kit Harington is going to be coming back, I think that's great, because I think that next season will actually move the lines of the story a lot more than what we've seen. We've already seen a lot of stuff that changed from the books in the past season, which some good, some bad. I really, really hated the whole trope of Dorne. The way they did that, it was just terrible. Terrible. I mean, it was basically, it felt like a buddy cop movie with Jaime and Bronn, and especially the Sand Snakes, the way they made them, they were kind of cool, but just the way they kind of did that, and especially that the fact that they took out Arianne was just like, wow. Like, I mean, how I don't understand how they're going to do it without her. I mean, it would make so much more sense if one of the Sand Snakes was Doran's daughter, especially in the TV show. So I don't know what the hell they're doing with that. But anyway, a couple different things I want to talk about, touch upon real quick. I want to kind of center upon the wall and the wildings. This is about the books. I was rereading the 5th book just this past week because I kind of wanted to get a feel of it, because I don't think that they're officially done with the 5th book in the sense of story-wise when it comes to the TV season. So I just want to see if there was anything that they missed that I thought they might put in season 6. That being said, I came upon something in the prologue that I think was really, really interesting. I've always wondered what agents these powers have. Like R'hllor, the fire god, is there an actual R'hllor? We don't know. I mean, we've never seen an embodiment of the god of R'hllor. We only know that he's a power, and it seems that like there is an entity of fire where people can draw power from, like the priests, like Melisandre or Thoros. So I guess what I'm just trying to say is that I feel like there is an ice version of that too. There has to be a priests or some sort of human servants that help make. I mean, as far as we know, the White Walkers. Well, not the actual White Walkers. The White Walkers themselves might have been human at one point in time. That's what we saw from the show, and that's what's kind of implied with the whole Craster's sons thing. So if they started off as human, that means that as far as the actual others, the cold entity that animates them, possibly doesn't have a human form. I mean, we don't know that. We haven't seen anything that is conducive in saying that, oh yeah, there is that other. I mean, even the Night's King appears to have been human at one time. He is a humanoid. And the Whites were, of course, well, I mean, those are basically zombies, so of course they're humans. One part, there's a quote, which I'll put up in the to show you guys. in Varamir Sixskin's prologue, about where he's saying kind of the aftermath of, at the Battle of the Wall. People were confused. People were very... they didn't know where to go. They didn't know who to follow. They were getting complete crazy reports about Mance. He's dead. He's went over to the Crows, or, you know, it's just so many things. Harmadog's fell. Tormund was basically, I mean, he was MIA for a little bit and that kind of stuff. The whole Wildlings was scattered. And Melisandre had even said that she had a vision that the Wildlings were basically a doomed people, which I believe they are. I don't believe that means that they're all going to perish. I think that the Wildling way of life in that part of the world is just basically done. I don't think that there'll ever be another free folk in that way. They're either going to join the Seven Kingdoms in the sense and kind of integrate themselves into the north, or even if they want to go farther south, but they're not going to have any more Wildlings way of life. And I think that's definitely proven, especially in the aftermath, for those people who chose not to go to the Wall, because there was a quote where it even said that there was thousands of them holed up in one place that they said they didn't know what to do or where to go. Some people wanted to go and try to push the Battle of the Skull, or the Bridge of Skulls. And other people were saying, oh, we need to go here, maybe following Mother Mole. But he even said that there was a dour warrior that was Varamir saw that there was a dour warrior that was dressed in amber and skins and that kind of stuff, that told people that they needed to go back into the Frostfangs where the Thenns were, that they would be holed up there. To me, that seems like an obvious trap, and I think that he might have been one of the agents of the others, because if you look at the Frostfangs, basically from what we've been hearing, the Frostfangs are the place that got hit the hardest. And there is a place that's almost so far north that if the others are coming from the very, very north, then that place is going to be hit the hardest. The Frostfangs, they were a dangerous place that Mance only went to because he thought he could find the Horn of Jormungand. So, that being said, I think that, and Varamir Sixskins even said that more people followed him than anyone else. Thousands went with him. So, if he was working for the others, this is a huge payoff for him, because then they're bolstering up their army, and he's going to lead them to the Frostfangs, in which there's really no way out, and they're going to be trapped and killed. So, that being said, I think that there's definite confusion, and there's definite agents of the others that are really helping bolster their army, because whites are the ones that make up the most of their infantry. I think to prove that point too, Craster was another one of the agents of the Cold. I'm not 100%. I mean, Craster, and then the one guy that Varamir, which the guy never gave a name, he just said he was a dour warrior. I think those two guys definitely can be marked as agents of the Cold. I'm even kind of thinking that Euron, Crow's Eye, might be an agent of the Cold, because he seems to be very sinister, more sinister in ways than anyone else who's a potentially bad guy is. I mean, even with the Boltons are monsters, but in the end, they still want to kind of preserve power, because that's what they want. They want to be kings in the north. You can't rule over a completely destroyed area. Euron Crow's Eye basically wants to just throw everything out and just restart all over with the Seven Kingdoms. That just seems a little bit, weird. Like, especially with his whole conversation about, oh, the Seven Kingdoms is dying and all we have to do and that kind of stuff. He seems to be pretty sure of knowing that something seems to be coming, and especially with him dealing with magic, him saying that he sailed so much, I feel like he kind of knows more than what he's leading on. So that being said, I think that there's definitely agents of the Cold that are there, trying to undermine everyone else, because they're trying to help the others. For what? Who knows? I mean, we still don't even know what the others' really endgame is. For in the past, for anyone that's read The World of Ice and Fire, it seems like basically it's just like this force of nature, or this force of magic that is coming, trying to take over lands and killing everyone it comes into contact with. However, we still don't understand why. Is this just a force of nature? Is this someone trying to kill off everyone so that way they're the only ones left, so that there was no one contested them? There really hasn't been any type of negotiation with the Night's Watch and the others, it seems. I mean, the only thing we have is the Night's King. But, however, it seems interesting, because the Night's King himself, he ruled in that area, he ruled in the Night Fort, but he didn't necessarily try to take over the whole north. So it kind of seemed, as I'm just saying, that it kind of seems interesting as to what the real end game for this for the others, and I guess you could say the ice part of the threat to Westeros. Do they just want pure destruction, or are they doing this for a reason? Are they doing this because they want to install their own way of order? I mean, we don't really know. However, I just think it's interesting because I think that the wildlings, after Mance fell, I think they were definitely destroyed kind of some from the inside, and there was maybe even people who undermined trying to save people's lives and kind of just fed them to the others to become whites. I think that this is kind of an ongoing theme because you have Craster, who definitely did that, and there has been even mention of other tribes and that kind of stuff that prayed to these kind of gods that they thought, which were the White Walkers. The whole idea of sacrificing to the White Walkers doesn't seem necessarily uncommon, especially in the way that the wildlings talk about it. So that being said, I really kind of wonder if we're going to, if like someone is going to come forward and finally say, oh yes, I'm working for the others, or if this is just going to be implied. Like, for the Faceless Men, they kind of even seem like there might be after the Horn of Joramun, or something to the effect of being on the side of the ice, if you want to say. I mean, it really, we say ice versus fire, but what it really kind of seems is, it seems like darkness versus light in some way. Like Bloodraven telling Bran that darkness is his mother's milk, that basically darkness will keep him safe. And then Melisandre saying that light is really the only way, and that without light we're all lost to shadow, and we're all lost to darkness and everything. So I think that we can see, however, she's also done some very, very insidious and evil things in the name of the light, while Bloodraven and Bran seem to be the ones hiding in darkness, yet trying to make everything, positive, and trying to fight against what's really negative. So that being said, I think that there's definitely agents like the Champion of Fire, I think, right now. Well, the true Champion of Fire, I think, is Daenerys. But that is kind of like, we'll have to save that for another video, just because I think there's a lot of things that point to her. But I think that overall she's like the Champion of Fire. Then there's other agents, which is like the basically the cult, I'm going to say, of R'hllor. To where they're very strongly on the side of fire and what they believe is light, and they're very, very... their ultimatum is like, you're either with us or you're on the side of the Great Other. As far whoever the ice advocates or / the agents of ice are, is a lot more. It's a lot trickier to say because they've been represented as kind of completely evil. So I think that Jon definitely is an agent of ice in the sense that he's at the wall. He had the dream where he was armored in black ice. And there's just a lot of things surrounding him of cold and a very and a lot of things that put him at odds with the fire side, I guess you could say. I mean, I know technically he could be the Song of Ice and Fire just because of his supposed lineage. However, I think that if it came down to it, he would definitely be on the side of ice, just kind of because of the proximity that he's in. So I think definitely him. I think Craster definitely was. I think that warrior that I mentioned, the Dour Warrior, was definitely some sort of agent of the others. And then I also believe that Bloodraven isn't on the side of ice necessarily. I mean, I would almost call him a neutral. However, he is definitely, I feel, going to be at odds with Melisandre just because of the fact that she believes him to be evil, just because she doesn't follow what he believes. So that's just what I think. If you guys think of any other agents that you can think of, please comment on it and please let me know, because this is something I would really like to look forward to. But I think that the wildlings are definitely being undermined by, some sort of spies that the others have within their ranks, especially after Mance fell, to where I think they basically just got are going to get completely decimated, and whichever wildlings are at the wall right now, those are going to be the only wildlings left. And even then, they're going to be integrated into the northern, the new gift, or the gift, or whatever happens after this Battle of the Dawn. And so, in the end, the wildlings' way of life is kind of over, and they are a doomed people, but only in the sense of their culture and in the sense of where they lived. I don't think they're ever going to be able to go back there. I think that anyone that is pretty much north of the wall right now is either not going to survive or they're going to have to move. south of the wall somehow, or just completely leave the land. So basically, yeah, I mean, when Melisandre says that these wildlings are a doomed people, I believe that to be true. Not that they're all going to die, but just because their way of life is basically destroyed, and now they're being tricked by the thousands to go into the Frostfangs, or to follow Mother Mole to go to the shore by Eastwatch, in which we've heard reports that there's basically dead everywhere, and especially in the Frostfangs where it's most concentrated. So that's what I just kind of thought my theory was. I wanted to share with you guys. Like I said, I'm trying to keep these videos pretty short now. I'm going to be making more of them. Please help and follow. I'm actually going to be doing a pop giveaway soon. It's going to be a Jaime Lannister Hot Topic exclusive pre-release. I will be doing that on my next video. But just in case you guys want to win that, stay tuned. And I'll be talking to you later. Valar Morghulis.